Hey, what's up guys? This is Joe from Analog Archive back with another vinyl video. Today's video is going to be some recent finds for my trip to Rochester, New York to two of my favorite record stores. And I've talked about these record stores in the past, and they're definitely two record stores that if you're ever in Rochester or ever in Western New York, you should definitely check them out because they are some really great stores. So we'll get right into it. First, the first few are going to be from Record Archive. Which is this huge record store. It started back in the mid-70s. It's this huge warehouse. They've added a back room, kind of lounge for music, everything in there. It's just this really great musical kind of haven to go to. It's a really great place that, again, I recommend that everybody should go to. So the first one is a 7-inch. I don't show off a lot of 7 inches. I'm actually thinking of making a video in the future about 7 inches. But this song is one that I have really liked for a while. I've been really looking for a 7-inch and I have finally found it. And it's Toto by, Rosanna by Toto. It's on the same album as Africa. On the other side, it's called It's a Feeling. So a really great 7-inch that, again, I'd been looking for quite a bit of time and was glad to find it for just a few bucks. So good kind of way to start. The next one, I was just kind of flipping through the bins and I was not really looking for anything in particular, just kind of looking through the jazz stuff. And I came across this album, Kenny Dorham and the Jazz Prophets, Volume 1. This is a mid-70s repress, ABC Records, kind of on this somewhat kind of fluorescent looking orange and yellow kind of label. This was recorded in the mid-50s on ABC Paramount. Kenny Dorham is on trumpet. Dick Katz is on piano. J.R. Monterose is on tenor sax. Sam Jones on bass. And Arthur Edgehill on the drums. Really great album. I had not heard of this album before picking it up, but was really glad to kind of just, it was a bit of a blind buy. I do really enjoy Kenny Dorham, always looking for more of his stuff, and was really glad to be able to pick that up. The next one was one that was on the wall. So Record Archive, they have this huge wall that kind of spans from essentially one side of the store to the other, and it has all genres. So it's got blues, it's got jazz, rock and roll, all really different genres, classical music, everything like that. And this was one that had been sitting there for a little while. I actually had originally seen this one in the New Arrivals for the jazz, and when I picked it up and I looked at the label, so it's a 6i Columbia. This is Milestones, Miles Davis, so it's an original mono press. I was very surprised to find it in the stacks, but at the time I just didn't really, I wasn't sure about it yet. I think at the time I picked up some other items, and so I just wasn't ready to kind of buy it. And the next time I came in, it was up on the wall. So it stayed up on the wall for quite a few months until I just kind of picked it up. So really great kind of earlier Miles Davis. This is from 1958. Miles Davis is obviously on trumpet. Cannonball Adderley is on alto sax. John Coltrane, the great John Coltrane, on tenor sax. Red Garland on piano. Paul Chambers on bass. And Philly Joe Jones on the drums. Just an unbelievable lineup. One that you would also see on Kind of Blue the following year. Some of these guys I think also were on something else, Cannonball Adderley, in the next year as well. But just a really great session, the one that I really enjoy. And in terms of Miles Davis, I do like some of his earlier material more so than kind of stuff as you got into the 60s, and I really did enjoy this after listening to it again. So those were my finds from Record Archive. Again, a really great store, huge place. It's hard to leave there without finding something. They have a very large dollar section, $3 section. They have a pretty substantial new vinyl section. They have a lot of CDs as well. It'd be hard to find, or it'd be hard not to find CDs at a place like Record Archive. Mainly what they're known for is used vinyl, which is what I like, and they have a really pretty impressive kind of area. So definitely check that out if you are ever in Western New York. Now, the other place is one that I have talked about more extensively over the course of my videos, and I'm actually wearing the t-shirt, Bop Shop Records. This place is a little bit newer. It did start in the 80s, but it wasn't until I think the later 80s that he really had gotten started. This has kind of been my go-to record store in Rochester. If you are ever in Rochester, you have to check out the Bop Shop. It's an unbelievable assortment of jazz, rock, blues. They've got a lot of classical, they've got folk, and everything is in really good condition, and it is reasonably priced. You're going to find stuff there that you wouldn't find anywhere else. It's kind of a bit of a gem of a place most people that would come to Rochester may not know about it. They know about Record Archive, they know about House of Guitars, places like that, but the Bop Shop is a little bit more of a hidden gem, but one that is definitely worth checking out if you ever stumble upon kind of that area. So these are all really, really solid finds. I kind of saved the real big ones for the end, but I was really pleased with what I was able to find, and these are some of the best records that I've ever found in a store. So we'll get started. First one is Blackjack, Donald Byrd. This is a later Donald Byrd session. It was recorded in 1967 and then was released the following year, 1968. It's got the Liberty labels, Division of Liberty, because it was sold in 1966. Blue Note was sold to Liberty, but really great stereo, original stereo press. At first, when I looked this up on Discogs before kind of listening to the music, it was described as being kind of jazz, funk, post-bop, but I do still think that it has a lot of the hard bop that Donald Byrd was kind of known for. One of the main reasons why I also picked this up, other than the fact that it's really clean and it's got Donald Byrd, who I love, it's who's on the album. So Donald Byrd is on trumpet, Sonny Red is on alto sax, Hank Mobley on tenor sax, Cedar Walton on piano, Walter Booker on bass, and Billy Higgins on the drums. Now, that's an unbelievable lineup. Sonny Red, you don't really see him on a lot of albums. He has a few in the earlier 60s that he kind of was the leader of. Hank Mobley, obviously, is somebody that has had a very extensive Blue Note career. But the fact that you've got somebody like Donald Byrd on trumpet, and then you've got two other horn players, Sonny Red and Hank Mobley, on alto and tenor sax, respectively, just makes this an even better album. And it really is a great session, one that I honestly had never even heard of or seen before seeing it actually in a video before I went to Rochester. But it is a really great record, and I definitely recommend you looking for it. A lot of times the ones that are post when it was sold to Liberty can be a little bit cheaper. That's not always the case, but they can be a little bit easier to find in better condition, and the price is usually much better than the earlier ones, the 60s and the 50s ones. So really great record, one again that I recommend picking up. The next one was one that I had found in the back room. So he has a back room in there that has a lot of really rare stuff. Jazz is really mainly what I've looked at, but he also does have blues and rock rare titles back there. And this one is fantastic Frank Strozier. This is his debut album. This is an original mono on VJ on the Rainbow label. This actually technically is a second mono. It was released the same year, 1960, as the original. The original had a maroon label, and the VJ was kind of curved around the label. But again, this one came out at the time when there was a transition in the VJ label, when it went from that maroon to the well-known rainbow kind of label. This one sounds great, really clean as well. The debut for Frank definitely was a great set. So this has Frank Strozier on alto sax, Booker Little on trumpet, Paul Chambers on bass, Wynton Kelly on piano, Jimmy Cobb on the drums. And the last three guys, Paul Chambers, Wynton Kelly, and Jimmy Cobb, were the rhythm section for Miles Davis on kind of blue, and was part of that original kind of quintet that he was that he kind of put together in the later 50s. So really great rhythm section. You've got somebody like Frank Strozier on the alto, coming right out the gate with a really strong performance. Booker Little, somebody else that, if you're kind of somebody that's new to jazz, has maybe not come across him as much, but he is an excellent trumpet player as well, and really a great session. This was $50, which for something that's original, especially on VJ, where those can be hard to find, especially in good condition, I was really glad to be able to pick that up. So the last few are really the big heaters, at least in my opinion. This one was one that I had seen a few months ago, and just kind of had passed on it at the time. I listened to it, wasn't sure about it at the time, but then after listening to it again recently, I really enjoyed it. I do have some from him. I have some other albums, but this one definitely is a really strong album, and a really early one as well. And this is Zoot Sims' Quartets. Quartets is the name of the album. This was two different lineups, or two different recordings. The first one was September of 1950. The second one was in August of 1951. So the 50 and the 51 sessions were both probably released on kind of a 10-inch format, or even prior to that, and was then, just like a lot of the really early 12-inch Prestige albums when they started in 56, Rudy Van Gelder went back and remastered the records so that they could fit onto a 12-inch. This is also an original mono on the New York City Prestige Yellow Fireworks label. Really great lineup. Again, there's two different lineups. The first, the one that was September 1950, had Zoot Sims on tenor sax, John Lewis on piano, Curly Russell on bass, and Don Lamond on the drums. So they were on 4 of the 10 tracks, and then the August of 1951 had Zoot Sims on tenor sax, Harry Biss on the piano, Clyde Lombardi on bass, and Art Blakey on the drums. Now, great early Art Blakey. I believe he got started in maybe 49 or 50. So really early session for him on the drums, if you'd like to hear that. Sounds great, and it has a bit of kind of Zoot Sims cool jazz that he became kind of well known for as the 50s, especially went on and into the 60s. But really great album. I really like the cover. The pink really pops well, and just a really well done record overall. So we're down to the last 2. This one was also picked up at the same time as the Zoot Sims one, and this is Gene Ammons' All-Star Sessions. So there's 2 different sessions on this one as well. You've got on the A side is they called the Gene Ammons All-Star Sextet. Gene Ammons on tenor sax, Art Farmer on the trumpet, Lou Donaldson on alto sax, Freddie Redd on piano, Addison Farmer on bass, who's the brother of Art Farmer, and then Kenny Clark on the drums. So they're on two of the songs. The entire A side is that lineup, recorded June of 1955, and then the B side they label it as Gene Ammons Battles Sonny Stitt. So that was this was one of the first sessions that the two of them kind of were on together. But they would make quite a few albums on Verve. I don't think I've shown any of them off, but there are 2 or 3 albums. Boss Tenors in Orbit is one of them. And I'm blanking on the other one, but they had quite a few sessions that they did together on Verve in the early 60s. So it's got Gene Ammons is still on tenor sax. Sonny Stitt is also on tenor sax. But actually, what's seen is the B side is broken up into 3 different sessions. So there's really technically 4 sessions on the entire album. Gene Ammons and Sonny Stitt are both on the B-side the entire time, but on 2 of the tracks you've got Duke Jordan on piano, Tommy Potter on bass, and Joe Jones on the drums. On 1 track you've got Junior Mance on the piano, Gene Wright on bass, and Wesley Landers on the drums. And then on the last song, on the final song, you've got Billy Massey on the trumpet, Al Outcalt on the trombone, Charlie Bateman on the piano, Gene Wright on bass, and Teddy Stewart on the drums. So you've got quite a lineup kind of throughout the session. This is also original mono on the New York City labels, the Fireworks label. Really, this one's really clean as well, which is always nice. So yeah, the A side is from 55, recorded in 55, and this was actually released in 56. And then on the B side is you've got 2 of the 3 sessions are from 1950, and then that 3rd session is from 1951. So the last 2 Zoot Sims quartets and this one are both really early kind of bop sessions. They are really moving pretty well, especially this album moves pretty well, and excited to listen to this one more, but I really did enjoy it after the first kind of listen. And the final one is the one that I was really most excited to pick up, and really was one of the main reasons, or one of the main records that I was looking for. I had called ahead a few weeks ago and he had it in stock, which I was really happy because I was looking for this one for a while. This is one that you do see kind of shown around the vinyl community a bit, especially on Instagram. I've seen this one, but this one is kind of the first of a certain type of kind of hard bop, or a type of jazz that became popular in the early 60s. So this is Jackie McLean, Let Freedom Ring. This is an original mono on the New York labels. This was recorded in 62 and released in 63. This got Jackie McLean on alto sax, Walter Davis on piano, Herbie Lewis on bass, and Billy Higgins on the drums. Really great lineup. Aside from track 2 on the A side, I'll Keep Loving You, Melody for Melanie, Renee, and Omega. The other 3 tracks are all written by McLean. They're about different kind of family members, along with some kind of important people in his life. The reason why this is kind of the first of albums that I kind of haven't really dug into, this is considered, you're starting to get a little bit into the kind of avant-garde or the free jazz. Jackie McLean was started to become interested in that. He started hearing like Ornette Coleman and some of the other musicians at the time on Blue Note and other labels that were kind of starting to kind of test the limits of the instruments and kind of test the sound that could be made from the instruments. The one thing that is that I do enjoy about this is, even though it starts to kind of go off into the kind of the more freer side of jazz, he does always seem to kind of bring it back to that hard bop foundation that he became really well known for in the 50s and into the early 60s. So this was kind of his start into the more avant-garde or kind of more free jazz. But this sounds amazing. For anybody that likes hard bop, this really is an amazing album. This is one of his strongest albums, and even after a few listens, I really, this is one of my favorites already. So I was really glad to be able to find this, and yeah, so really, really happy to be able to find that. So those are the records that I had found at when I went to Rochester for both Record Archive and the Bop Shop. Again, definitely recommend, if you ever are in Western New York, to check out those two places. You will not be disappointed. Doesn't matter what genre. I know I showed off mostly jazz, but both those places have a wide range that really can appeal to any genre. It doesn't matter if you like metal, rock, blues, jazz, folk, classical, whatever it happens to be, you will find something at both places. So I definitely recommend that. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd love for you to subscribe, hit like, and put some comments. I'd love to kind of get to talking to everybody about maybe some finds that you've gotten recently, and I will see you in the next vinyl video.